Hello and welcome to another podcast of The Right Has Left. I'm your host, Roy Garten, and again, we've got just a fun-packed week of news from the Trump administration and the White House. So let's go ahead and get right into it, because I'm telling you, things just can't get any better with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And speaking of Elon Musk, let's start with this guy. You know, the guy that never wears a suit in the Oval Office of the White House, but, you know, they criticized Zelensky from Ukraine for not wearing a suit, but that's a different story, isn't it? Anyway, let's get right back to Elon Musk. So what's going on with this guy? Well, Elon Musk has told the White House that he plans to give $100 million to the President Trump's political operation, according to a person who is familiar with his plans. And why does this matter? Well, several things. Conflict of interest, for number one. The second thing that it does is the contribution is unheard of in both amount and the type that the way Musk is doing this. Now, Musk, remember, who is technically an employee of the government, is the world's richest man. Yes, he is. And Musk donated so far more than $250 million to a pro-Trump super PAC during Trump's 2024 election. Now, this, of course, you can't just stop with all this stuff. This has made Musk Trump's biggest financial booster, and, you know, we already know all of that. But here's the thing. Now, he is the face of the Doge team that's driving all of this controversy that's going on with all these mass firings and his unprecedented access to all of the departments in the United States government. And he's the guy, of course, that you know is putting all these huge cuts to work and is firing workforce and agencies. Now, why I'm talking all about this is because of the fact that you know, Donald Trump is just has had some, you know, things going on with Elon Trump that's caused a little bit of friction. But now all of a sudden things are great because of this $100 a million contribution that's coming back to the Trump administration. So what has this done? Well, as you have just heard, Donald Trump had a big car show on the White House steps promoting Musk's, I have to paraphrase this because this is funny, Telser. Yes, it is a Telsa, as we all know, but Donald Trump called it a Telser. And what has he done? Well, as you can see by this video that I'm showing you right here, Donald Trump bought himself an $80,000 Telsa. Now, we know Trump, he can never drive because he's the president and he is, you know, escorted everywhere that he goes. But this was just an hilarious thing that was going on here, because of the fact of the matter is, right now the economy is tanking, and common folks like you and I are suffering from that. The stocks have plummeted, and of course we are on our way to recession. So what does Donald Trump do? He has a big photo op with Elon Musk, his right-hand guy, because he's given him so much money, and he is going to buy himself a Telsa. Now, he says he's going to give it to the White House staff to drive around, but that's going to be funny, because who's going to argue who gets to drive the Telsa, or the Telser, as you know Trump calls it? And it's just unbelievable stuff that we have seen going on here. And I'm just really fascinated as to what's going to happen here with all of that. So that is one late breaking news story, is the fantastic photo op of Elon Musk and Trump with the Telsas as the economy begins to tank. The other thing that's going on in the news is the mass firing from the United States Education Department. Now, this is what's really sad, folks. 1,300 folks have been fired from the U.S. Department of Education. This is the same organization that, you know, controls the FAFSA grants and the Pell grants and things that happen for public education, where, again, common folks like you and I who want to send our sons and daughters or granddaughters and grandsons to college and we can't afford to do it, so we apply for these federal grants and Pell Grants based on one's income. This is the same department that was, created clear back during Jimmy Carter's administration that helps folks in public school systems, that works out things to get funding to the public school systems. And so what does Trump want to do? He hates the Department of Education because obviously he wants to privatize it and make all you folks go to private schools and pay for that out of your own pocket. Now, again, the Department of Education tracks student achievement and enforces the civil rights laws in the schools, which, Trump's against civil rights. And the layoffs means that the Department of Education, which started the year with, 4,133 employees, is now down to less than half of that type of workforce. And it's just unbelievable what he's doing here, gutting the U.S. Department of Education. Now, in addition to the 1,315 workers who were fired on Tuesday, 572 employees that did accept separation packages, which you can't blame them. They got to have something to live on. And they were offered that in recent weeks. And then 63 probationary workers were also terminated. These are what are called recent hires. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is just unfreaking believable what's going on with the Trump administration. The way he's just firing people left and right. And it gets scary. I'm really concerned about future students who are just going to be graduating from high school this year and are going to need FAFSA and Pell Grants to get into college, and what's going to happen to them. It is absolutely scary. And I don't know what we're going to do. Now, Linda McMahon, now, if you haven't heard this name, she is the education secretary. She has described the situation in detail about how sad it is. And she really doesn't know, what to do. Because the U.S. Department of Education delivers services very efficiently, she stated. And the changes are going to affect dramatically how things are going to happen because they now don't have the staff to actually execute things like the Pell Grant and FAFSA loans and other things that need to go to our public school systems and to our colleges and universities. And it's going to be really tough now with half the staff to work with and to try to process all of those loans. And it's something that she doesn't know how she's going to handle it. Basically how she's going to go forward with it, and it's just something that she doesn't know how to move forward, and you can't blame this lady. The Department of Education is extremely important to our nation's school systems, and I'm flabbergasted that he's doing all of this. Now, in other news that's going on is this: we have seen a 25% tariff increase with steel that is imported to the United States. Again, at 25%, Trump says, well, this is fantastic. Now everybody in the United States is going to have to buy steel and aluminum right here in the United States. He doesn't get it. With a 25% tariff on increase in steel and aluminum, again, this is just going to contribute to the inflation that's now happening. It's going to cause stocks to again further decline and get us back further into perhaps a recession. Now, why do I say this? Because again, all of this stuff, when you do tariffs, is passed on to the consumer. And if you want to have progressive building and sky rises go up like Trump loves and businesses increase like Trump loves, people have got to pay for this. And it's just passed on to the consumers. So where the heck are these folks who maybe already be strapped for getting money and they're going to need more loans to pay for it because they've got building costs now going up that they never predicted, so they're going to have to get more money? Where is that going to come from? Well, that's going to come from the banks. That's going to cause interest rates to go up. Again, this guy just doesn't get it. Now, I'm I'm a pretty smart guy. I've got my degree in business and entrepreneurship, so I know a little something about tariffs and how they work, contrary to what Donald Trump says and what other, thousands of people who are experts in this field know about tariffs. He thinks they're working when they're really not. It's just something that makes him to bargain with. And now some small aspects, maybe it has worked. Like with Canada, he had a 25% increase, and he's still going back and forth with the 51st state. He's already calling Canada our 51st state, even though it's not. So this is going to be quite interesting as to what happens. In other news that's going on that's quite interesting is what's going on with U.S. House of Representatives. This, folks, is absolutely funny. Now, Mike Johnson, who is, of course, the Speaker of the House, they have been going back and forth with their committee who wants to put basically Liz Cheney in jail. They're still trying to investigate the team that, basically brought things against Donald Trump about the insurrection. They're still battling and feeling their little pain and trying to get back at Liz Cheney and the rest of the committee that sat there when they did the investigation insurrection. Actually, Mike Johnson has some smarts. He is basically saying, we need to put this thing to bed and put it to rest. And yet some of these right-wing Republicans still, no, we need to get back to Liz Cheney. We got to put her in jail. We got to make sure her and the rest of those people pay for going after our Donald Trump. So, I'm anxious to see how this is going to go down. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Other news? Yeah. Let's go back to Ukraine and Florida's Marco Rubio, who's now, of course, the State Department guy. He is basically working with the Soviet Union. I shouldn't say Soviet Union. It's now called Russia, obviously, my mistake, and Ukraine to get a peace deal. And what he's doing is he has said that if you guys come up with a ceasefire, we're going to restore aid. And so Donald Trump has already, showed some good faith and has started intelligence negotiations back with Ukraine and giving them some information and getting some military support back to Ukraine because this guy, Zelensky, he has agreed to go ahead and accept that offer. And so, therefore, things are back on talking terms with Donald Trump and Zelensky, who's the president of Ukraine. So that's pretty good to see. And, we'll have to see what happens because so far Russia has not agreed to a ceasefire. And I'm sure Donald Trump being buddies with him, maybe they'll get that ceasefire in place and we can get some things going. So, when Donald Trump and his staff actually do something right, I'm the first guy to give him credit. So we'll see what happens here. It's sad that Zelensky's had to, kiss the Trump ring to get things going, but this man is willing to do it for his people. So give a little kudos to that. Other than that, that's pretty much been a pretty good week, hasn't it? We've got Telser. We've got more tariffs increase. We've got the stock market still going down. We've got a recession perhaps coming our way. We've got Musk giving lots more millions and millions of dollars to Donald Trump, which makes him happy. And possibly we got a ceasefire in Ukraine. And one other thing that I forgot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, is of course the budget, so the country can continue to operate. The House did pass their package for getting the budget back in line, and that's by midnight this coming Friday as I'm taping this podcast. And the Senate has yet to, agree to it. So we'll have to see what happens. They need 60 votes, both bipartisan, to carry the budget so we can continue to have money to operate the United States government. And that's going to happen Friday by midnight, so we'll see what happens. And that is my podcast for this week for The Right Has Left. I am your host, Roy Garten. Until next time, you try to have a good week. We'll talk to you later.